Be prepared. Tomorrow's new moon is not just another one, and now something is stepping between you and everyone you know. You are not meant to be seen right now. This upcoming new moon wraps you in something almost imperceptible. The universe is listening, and right now, solitude is precision. If you've already felt a strange pull to go quiet, or noticed people misinterpreting your words, your vibe, your intent, you're not imagining it. That's the veil in motion. Let me know in the comments if you've been feeling this, if it's already begun for you. And during this new moon, you'll be given a code, but you must pay attention to realize what it is. I will explain the reason behind this later, so stick around. But first, there's something even more fragile happening, and if you share it too soon, it won't survive. Some things grow only in silence, and this moon knows it. There are realizations forming inside you that cannot survive a crowd. This new moon isn't offering answers, it's offering seeds. And if you rush to show them off, to explain them, to talk through them with others, they collapse. It's like cutting open fruit before it's ripened. It bruises instantly. The sweetness turns sour. Some of your clearest insights right now are delicate. They aren't secrets. They're frequencies, and frequencies are most alive before they're spoken. Say it too soon, and it disappears. Write it down, and it might change. Speak it to the wrong person, and it might never return. This moon asks, can you hold the vision without proving it? Can you let it mature, unbothered? Because something is whispering to you, and it's only just beginning to form. But what happens when this moon resets your compass entirely? You're about to feel it, and it won't feel like clarity at first. When the real you is too raw to show up, the copy steps in. During this new moon, something strange happens when you're around others. It's like there's a version of you, a polished, preloaded version that takes the wheel without asking. It smiles easily. It answers questions. It knows how to behave. And on the surface, it seems to be working just fine. But it isn't you. This is the substitute self, and it activates automatically when your real self is too energetically unstable to show up. It's not evil or broken. It's a safety mechanism. But it's also lifeless. It doesn't feel joy. It doesn't feel depth. And when you come home after being around others, there's a sudden emptiness, like you've missed something important without knowing what it was. You might even catch yourself mid-conversation thinking, why am I talking like this? Who am I performing for? And that's the truth of it. This version of you performs. It says what's expected. It chooses the smoothest emotional response. But it's hollow, and every time the substitute self steps in, the real you falls further into sleep. This moon doesn't want you to perform. It doesn't want you to play nice. It wants your raw signal, even if that means silence, solitude, or just not showing up at all. Because while the substitute self keeps you functioning, it also keeps you from connecting with what's real. Joy can't reach a mask, and neither can meaning. This is why, if you can help it, don't go out and activate the clone. Don't put the mask on just to make others comfortable. This isn't the time for that. This is a reset point, and you're only going to catch it if you stay with the original you. And speaking of masks, there's one more layer we need to address, and it's the most powerful one to drop right now. Freedom doesn't come from being seen. It comes from not needing to be. This new moon is less about feeling and more about shedding. And the first thing to go? The need to care. Not in the cold, shut-down way, not in the way that numbs you out, but in the way that frees you from the illusion that you have to manage the moment. We're taught to care constantly about our image, our replies, our worth, reflected back to us through others. But this moon is ruthless in its precision. It sees caring as a tether. And if you're tethered to how you're perceived, then you're already trapped. Here's the twist. During this moon, your care becomes currency. And there are people, energies, situations that are more than willing to spend it for you. Someone ignores your message and it hooks you. Someone makes a strange comment and it sticks. A slight look, a feeling of being misread, and suddenly you're spiraling to correct it. But what happens if you stop? What happens if you let the world misread you and you don't clarify? What happens if you don't post the perfect response, don't double-check the mirror, don't chase down the tension? This moon invites you into a kind of strategic detachment. Not apathy, but liberation. Because when you stop caring for just a moment, you slip off the grid. You become weightless, untraceable, immune to the energetic tugs that want to keep you small and spinning. Ask yourself this: what would happen if you didn't care how this moment looked? Who would you be if no part of you needed to impress, defend, explain, or chase? Because right now, invisibility is power. And if you can let go, even for a few hours, you might just pass through the tightest lock this moon has to offer, unnoticed, untouched, and absolutely free. But hold on, this moon isn't done. Spiritual static is real, and it's in the air tonight. Right now, everyone's aura is loose. Not just yours, not just the people who are into this stuff. Everyone. Even the people who say they don't believe in energy, vibes, or intuition. They're still radiating strange frequencies, leaking into rooms that don't belong to them. This new moon unhooks the usual energetic anchors that keep people in their own lane. It softens borders. That's why even the calmest, most grounded person might suddenly feel too loud or too much, or just slightly wrong. Right now, people don't even know where they stop and you begin. So when a conversation drags too long, when someone suddenly opens up way too deep, or when you leave a social space feeling strange, drained, or slightly altered, it's not because you're sensitive. It's because you were energetically rubbed off on. People don't realize when they lean in too far because their own borders have dissolved. And this is why solitude isn't avoidance. Because once you're coated in someone else's aura, it becomes harder to know what's yours. You start carrying stories that don't belong to you, thoughts that aren't yours, anxieties that don't originate in your nervous system. Right now, empathy is not a gift. It's a risk. Not because people are dangerous, but because they're slippery. They're not themselves. And neither are you, if you don't carve out a boundary made of actual silence, not just physical distance. This isn't the time to have those deep talks. It's not the time to process or unpack anything with others. It's the time to go quiet, go still, and wait until everyone's energy clicks back into place. Because something is scanning us. And if you're not careful, you'll get scanned under the wrong frequency. Which brings us to something no one is talking about. What happens when the eye opens and you're still standing in the wrong crowd? If you stand in the cosmic light too soon, it tags you by mistake. Right now, something enormous is blinking above us. This new moon isn't a dark sky moment. It's a lens reset. A blinking of a great eye that scans the energetic blueprint of everyone it sees, categorizing, labeling, realigning. And if you're standing in that gaze, surrounded by other people, entangled in their shifting fields, you get tagged as something you're not. That's how the eye works. It doesn't see you as you are. It sees the composite, you and everyone around you, merge together like a group photo taken too fast in bad lighting. If you're standing in the wrong scene, the universe misfiles you. It places you in an energetic drawer you don't belong to. So what happens next? You wake up days later, wondering why you feel like you're playing a role you didn't audition for, why people are treating you like someone else, why your life seems slightly misaligned, not wrong, but off. This isn't paranoia. This is energetic bureaucracy. The I is not conscious. It doesn't care. It resets based on presence, not essence. And that's why invisibility is your friend right now. Let yourself not exist in their field for just a moment longer. It's not about hiding. It's about opting out of a collective snapshot that's being taken too soon. Because once that image is logged, it becomes harder to break free of it. If you want to reappear in your real form, if you want the next phase of your life to align with you, not a distorted version of you, then disappear now. Because when it opens again, that's when you step forward. Fresh, untagged, ready. On June 25th, people unknowingly hand you scripts that were never written for your role. There is a strange theatrical fog descending with this new moon. It's subtle, but it's already begun. People are starting to speak lines that don't fit the conversation. They bring up things out of nowhere. You'll notice it. Someone says something oddly timed, strangely sharp, or weirdly familiar. Not malicious, not random, but definitely off. It's as if they're pulling phrases from a play you're not part of. Or worse, reading a version of your story that was never actually written. You might be in line at a store, and someone makes a comment that hits you deeper than it should. A text comes in, and it feels loaded, but you don't know why. Someone you trust gives you advice that rubs you the wrong way, not because they're wrong, but because they're tuned to a different signal entirely. Right now, people are saying things they don't mean, with voices that aren't fully theirs. This is what happens when the field goes fuzzy, when the energetic teleprompters go haywire. People around you become walking reflections of someone else's mood, someone else's thought form, someone else's unsorted chaos. They carry echoes, and those echoes get projected right at you. And here's the thing. If you're not aware, you'll start replying. You'll accept the script. You'll start reciting your lines in a play that isn't yours. And once you speak from a role, even for a moment, it becomes a thread that sticks. Every reply you give to a false script makes it harder to remember your real voice. You are not here to act out someone else's storyline. But if you don't step back, stay still, and observe, you will get swept into their production. During this moon, even the most well-meaning conversations can become energetic bait. You'll want to respond. You'll feel obligated to respond. But you must stop and ask, is this mine? Or am I being cast in something I never auditioned for? This is the danger right now, not negativity, not hostility, but misalignment. People don't even realize they're delivering the wrong script. They think they're being helpful, kind, present. But something is hijacking tone, timing, and emotional weight. That's why your protection isn't just solitude, it's discernment. Know what's yours to engage with. And if it doesn't feel precise, don't respond. Let the script drop. Let the scene fall apart. Let the silence take over. Because the most important moment of this moon can't be found in words. It lives in what comes next. A moment when your soul reaches for a door and something ancient clicks. This key refuses to turn if it hears other voices nearby. You can't force this moment because this isn't a ritual. This is a lock, a real one. Invisible, but exact. And it's sitting inside you, waiting for one thing only: total silence. Not just external quiet, but the kind of deep, internal hush that feels almost sacred. There are soul doors that won't budge if even one other voice is echoing inside you. This new moon opens a hidden chamber, but only for those who manage to become still enough for the lock to turn. This is a space beyond even thought. It's not about healing. It's not about processing. It's about listening to the point where even your inner voice starts to whisper, then fades. And then, for a few seconds, maybe less, something clicks. You'll feel it in your posture, in your breath, in the way your name feels in your chest when you say it hours later. That's how you know the lock turned. Some doors in your spirit only recognize the vibration of absolute stillness. And this is why even one conversation, one voice, one glance can cost you the moment. This isn't punishment, it's precision. The soul doesn't respond to half silence. It waits for the full void. So if you've been feeling like there's a version of you just behind a wall, if you've been sensing that there's something waiting to meet you once you stop trying to meet everyone else, then this is your moment. Not to chase, not to ask, not to plan. Just to be so quiet that the universe hears you before you even say a word. And when it hears you, it gives you something strange, specific, coded. And that's what we need to talk about next, because this moon isn't just unlocking old locks. It's delivering you a message, one that's easy to miss if you're not paying attention. You have to be alone to hear the numbers fall into place. This isn't symbolic. This isn't metaphor. This is functional. June 25th's new moon is broadcasting something real, subtle, but specific. A type of alignment that doesn't announce itself with fireworks, but more like a code being dropped mid-sentence when the world thinks you're not listening. If you're distracted, if your mind is crowded, if someone else's energy is too loud in your field, you miss the handoff entirely. It's not a lesson, not a breakthrough, not a test. It's a cipher, a brief but deliberate transmission that's meant to reconfigure the way you navigate something major. This might show up as a sentence you suddenly hear differently, a memory that stings in a new place, an image, a phrase, a feeling that strikes you as bizarrely timely, but only if you're tuned in. It doesn't scream. It hums. Every once in a while, the universe doesn't try to teach you anything, it just drops the answer. And if you blink, it's gone. This moon is not playing by usual rules. It's sharp, cold, clean. It doesn't wait for you to get it together. It doesn't loop the message or give you second chances. That moment when you space out mid-conversation, or stare too long at a wall, or suddenly feel overwhelmed for no reason, that might be it. But if you immediately grab your phone, text someone, or narrate it to a friend, it slips through. The code isn't always a number. Sometimes it's a metaphor, a face, a symbol from a dream that reappears in waking life. It's that line in a movie you've seen 100 times that suddenly lands like it's aimed straight at you. But only if you're not being watched. Only if you're fully internal. Alone doesn't just mean physically solo, it means mentally uninterrupted. Even your inner dialogue has to step aside for a second. Most people miss the code not because it's hidden, but because it's too quiet to compete with how loud their lives have become. This moon brings with it a strange precision. Not for everyone, not globally, but in the sense that something for you is about to calibrate, and the system delivering it only works in silent signal. Think of it like a safe cracking open, but the tumblers spin fast. You have to listen carefully, you have to feel the lock, And here's the catch. Once the moment passes, it doesn't come again. This isn't about regret or missed opportunity, it's about honoring the kind of wisdom that moves once and never loops back. If you want to catch the code, you need to give it space to land. That's why this moon doesn't want you to socialize. That's why it doesn't want you to share too soon. Because the code isn't meant to be understood by the collective. It's customized for your path, your timeline, your direction. You don't need anyone else's eyes on it. You just need to be still enough to see it form. You weren't invited to their ceremony. You were summoned to your own. There are moments in life that don't come with announcements. No flashing signs, no countdowns, no applause. They unfold like secrets, quiet, sacred, tailored. And this new moon is one of them. Think of it like a ritual that doesn't take place in a temple or a gathering, but in the unnoticed details of your own day, in how you breathe, in where your attention drifts, in the space between one version of you and the next. This isn't about stepping into your power or claiming something new. This is about witnessing something the cosmos has been preparing in the background. A shift in your position. A rearrangement in your soul's coordinates. The thing is, it doesn't need a group to validate it. In fact, the more people you're surrounded by, the more likely you are to miss it completely. You are not here to clap for someone else's evolution while yours goes unrecognized. This moon is performing a ceremony for you and you alone. And if you're too entangled in someone else's drama or attention or need for you to play a role in their transformation, you'll be standing in the wrong audience. It's not about selfishness, it's about sacredness. You've been summoned, and you can't answer that call if you're busy clapping at the wrong altar. Maybe you've already felt it. A quiet discomfort when you're around too many people. A vague sense of missing something important when you're stuck in small talk. That feeling is not anxiety. That's your body trying to pull you back toward your own ceremony. Rebirth doesn't always feel grand. Sometimes it feels like missing the urge to respond to a text, like choosing to stay home when everything says go out, like falling silent mid-sentence for no reason. This moon is timing your presence to the exact moment the universe needs you to see yourself clearly, not through the lens of your job, your relationships, your identity, but through the part of you that existed before all of that. It's not about doing anything. It's about being present when the shift happens. And you will know it's happening not because something big explodes, but because something inside of you settles. Something that has been circling finally lands. A part of you that never felt quite named suddenly feels seen. But only if you're there for it. So when the world tries to drag you into performance, when people start pulling you into their problems, their chaos, their validations, pause. And remember, you weren't invited to their ceremony. You were summoned to your own. On June 25th, silence is not absence. It's the highest form of participation. There are moments where speaking actually slows the message down. This is one of those moments. Whatever insight you're waiting for, whatever decision you think you need to force, whatever answer you're still trying to say out loud, let it go. This is not a time to make yourself legible to others. It's not a time to explain what's changing or why you're quiet or what realization you've had. This moon isn't asking for you to tell it what you've learned. It's already writing it in your field. All you have to do is stay still long enough to let the ink dry. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.